And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 309.5. We have a very special interview for you today. Hold on. Don't anyone get all in a fuss. Don't get mad. Every interview I have is friggin' special. Everyone, every single one of you. All right, and this is just in case any comedian that I've ever talked to is still listening to this show or has ever listened to this show, and it just happened to let me see what's going on in 309.5. Let me see what's going on in this bonus episode. Every single one of you are my special little babies, and I hope we continue to have conversations with each other and be friends. Now, how many of those people has that happened with? None. Actually, maybe one. Actually, two comedians. Anyone I've ever spoken to twice. How long can I go into this without mentioning who the person I've spoken with is? With whom I've spoken? Chad. Anyway, Shain Brenden is a comedian who just released, this is an early episode, who is about to release his first album. It's called Either Way Pretty Funny, and it comes out September 27th. The day that this episode comes out is September 25th. I am so on top of it, everybody. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? I almost stopped at wonder. I had to finish out the word. It's his debut album. Shane's able to talk about, in this album, rather. He's talking about being a father. He's talking about, there's a joke about Steph Curry's eyes. He's talking about being a person of color. It's a great album. A lot of easy, bite-sized tracks to listen to. He's a funny guy. This album comes from our friends at Blonde Medicine. Never met anyone there. But you know what? They have a good eye for comedians. Shane's been featured on Don't Tell Comedy, Sirius XM Radio, and he's been around the country. And he's friends with Kyle Kinane, C Plus Comedy's person we've talked to once. Again, I love it. I love it when comedians talk about being friendly with other comedians. Also, I enjoy it when I can say, hey, I've spoken to that person and you're right. Because otherwise I was like, yeah, that person seems like a great person. I don't know. But if I can speak, if I can speak to that person's ability to be a nice person. But then also what's interesting is that, and this is not interesting at all. I'm so happy I was able to tell my Kyle Kinane story again about how he changed the trajectory of C Plus Comedy. He did. If you haven't heard the story, here's a short of it. This website used to be, C Plus Comedy used to also include news, and it was kind of like the AV Club or the Onion. I'm rolling my eyes as I say this. And I just wasn't good at it. And at one point I tweeted something about a story. I tweeted a story rather about Kyle Kinane's upcoming tour at that point in time. And I don't remember the exact tweet he wrote back, but it was like, he quote tweeted it. He's like, this is kind of a douchey way to say it, but yes, here's my new tour schedule. And I was like, you know what? I like this guy. And he wasn't mean about it. He was just like, yeah, I mean, I guess. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do this anymore. So I stopped doing those type of stories. So now we have this. We have interviews with great comedians like Shain Brenden talking about their new albums. You can find this album, I'm pretty sure, like every other album, wherever you get your comedy albums, be it Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, the rest. Shane's a very funny guy, and he's very introspective, and he was very chill, which I enjoy, because I've got the energy of I got the energy of like 6 dogs, but not like oh he's a cute dog. No, just like 6 dogs found in the street, and you let them loose in a backyard somewhere. Hey, if you want, you can follow Shain on Instagram at Shain Brenden, ShainBrenden, where you can see some of his videos. He's also on YouTube. Just go to Google and type in his name, or Bing, or ask.com, whichever one works for you. Hey, if you want to see a video version of this, you can go to youtube.com/C plus comedy, where you can also see video versions of the other interviews that I do with comedians. People love those. There's also written interviews that I did prior to the pandemic, but thank God for the pandemic. On youtube.com/C plus comedy, you can also see video versions of the podcast, The Constitutionals, which is this one, the Entertainment Business News Podcast, LinkedIn Logs. Yes, I forgot what it was called. LinkedIn Logs, which is the jobs/business podcast, and Late Night Lately, the late night show. You can subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Pretty much anywhere. iTunes, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music. And you can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at C plus Comedy. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you for listening. Tell your friends and enjoy. Bye.
Chaotic, actually. Yeah, I got a little 9-month-old. I think he's almost 10-month-old now.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. So just been running and gunning. He just learned how to crawl, so now he doesn't stop. So now I'm constantly trying to keep him from hurting himself or tearing up shit around the house. So
yeah,
that was a good time. Yeah.
What's been the biggest joy of having a new baby around?
I think just having a little dude, just having a little fella. You know, he's just cool. He's a cool little guy. It gives me something to he kind of like readjusted everything for me.
Yeah.
You know, because my daughter's she's a teenager, so I haven't been in like super small tiny human dad mode in years. Right. So like I got hyper focused again on trying to keep this person alive, but also getting back to some sort of a schedule, because for a while, you know, it's like, you know, I'm up late, I'm out doing gigs, I come home, I'm up a couple 3, 4 in the morning or whatever, just kind of hanging out, and then just kind of sleep through half of the day. And it's like I can't do any of that shit anymore. That's not happening. Right. So in a good way, it kind of gave me some more structure, snapped me back out of the late night lazy comedian schedule that I had going for a couple of years. So
yeah, and it's gotta be good to like have to see the difference between raising a child 16 years ago versus raising a child now. Like I can't imagine the technology even that it makes it so much easier just to fold down a stroller or keep them occupied with like toys.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that stuff is. It's funny how like the stroller thing, like all of the gears, all the gadgets, all that stuff, the high chairs, the strollers, the car seats, like everything's like push button shit now. And back in the day, it's just like you had to have an advanced degree in engineering just to unfold a car seat or put a stroller together and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I mean, and the one thing I know my wife and I didn't want to do was turn him into an iPad kid, because you know the kids that are a little older, like 6, 7. I got a niece and a nephew. They're iPad kids. They're like, I forgot how old those kids are. They're like maybe 10, 8 and 10 or whatever. But it's just like on the phone. If you take their phone away, they lose their shit. You know, iPad, all that stuff. And I'm just like, that's not happening. I'm not putting up with that. We're not gonna do that. So it's you don't want to just sit them in front of a TV
Uh,
and play and like let the TV babysit them. Sometimes you have to just to
oh yeah.
eat or put change the laundry. But yeah, it's all it's all re-engaging. Uh, is has been the name of the game for me. Just being, people talk about being present and all that stuff.
Hmm.
He's he's definitely having an infant will definitely force you to be present because you have to pay attention to every single thing around you and the child. So
Yeah.
that I don't know. I think it my comedy brain is still trying to uh, figure out if I could do something with that.
Hmm.
But so far, no, I haven't thought of any good bits out of this because I'm just like exhausting all my parent resources right now. Like maybe after a while I'll be able to like talk about how funny it is to get shit on or something. I don't know, but
Right.
right now it ain't
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, it's it's just like a baby, it takes time for them to form a personality. It's going to take you time to form those jokes, and I can only imagine. Like sure, you'll start with the shit thing, it's like, "Oh,
yeah,
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 my baby shit on me." But then that'll snowball into an even bigger mound of shit, so you can find better
yeah.
jokes around
Yes.
that. I just can't like when you were you a comedian when when your first child was born? Were you developing jokes around that at that point?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I think I started right around her being one.
Okay.
She was like one or two. And yeah, I mean, I don't think immediately I jumped into telling jokes about her. It took a couple years in there.
Mhm.
Uh, but now, I mean, yeah, in the album, and basically that first hour of material, it turned out to be she was a primary player in it, because you talk about what you know, and it's me being a dad and trying to deal with that,
Mhm.
and trying to deal with raising a daughter, and
Yeah.
being being outnumbered by the ladies and all that stuff. I never thought of myself as a dad comic or anything. I still don't, but my friends jokingly, lovingly will give me shit saying that I'm the premier dad comic in Portland. I'm like, that don't feel good to hear, but it's just, I mean, you look up after years of doing it, and you see that a chunk of your material is, I'm talking about my family, and
Hmm.
it just so happened to be that way. And I didn't set out to do that on purpose,
Yeah.
and I may not, I might shy away from that for the second hour I'm trying to build. I haven't decided yet. I don't know why I feel like I need to. Some people are just like some people come up after shows to me, and it'll be other dads, dudes who are like in their 40s, like, hell yeah, man, I feel that shit. Like keep talking about that, and then so I'll be like, oh, okay, I guess so there are other people out there around my age that like it, but I just have this weird urge, or this weird small little voice in the back of my head that's just like, let's do something different. Let's figure out what the next thing is. I don't really know if I'm going to do that yet
Yeah.
because I'm literally in the moment of like, what's next? What are we doing? I mean, I'm already working on the next. I've been working on the next chunk, like 20 minutes. Got 20 minutes worth of new stuff since recording and all that. So
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. Well, I would just say, it's as a non-comedian, don't kill yourself over trying to find that new 20 minutes immediately. Because like you just said, you're living in the moment and with raising a newborn. So just like enjoy this one. Either way, pretty funny, right? Like just enjoy it
Yeah,
and let that simmer a bit. And I know it's your job to come up with the next thing and then build on from that. But it's in the first track of this album. You talk about comedians who build jokes just for Instagram and put them out, and I
yeah,
think I think you toe the line perfectly between those people and an actual good comedian who can tell jokes because
Oh,
that's
thanks,
what you
man.
have to do in today's age because you got to even looking at your Instagram and everyone else's Instagram, you have to at least have something that's salvageable within a joke and put it out for it's a minute long and it lasts on Instagram and TikTok and people can share it and it can be a nice little bite-sized treat for the main course.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I appreciate that. I try to toe the line uh, between trying to keep up with the comics who are just kind of throwing stuff out. Shit, not, there dudes just throw stuff out every day, and I'm like, I don't know how you do that,
Yeah.
or at least every week, you know. And I go back and forth with my buddies all the time. Like, is there such thing as burning material these days?
Hmm.
Some people say no. I mean, it's just like that's why a lot of folks throw out crowd work stuff. And trust me, if I can do crowd work, if I could do it and be good at it, because I mean, a lot of people are doing it. They don't mean they're good at it. Uh, I would be putting out content like that, but I don't know. I think the times are changing, and it's important to try to keep up with it because I don't want to fall into obscurity just because I am stubborn. You know,
Yeah, I get it.
I, uh, it reminds me of like dudes talking about comics back in the day, talking about how Dane Cook came around. He's like, "You guys got to check out this MySpace thing, man. You got to get on MySpace." And they're like, "Fuck you, MySpace. This shit'll pass." And then he became one of the biggest comics in the world at that time.
Yeah.
And it's just the same thing with like TikTok and IG and the clips and all that. Anything that I put up, I mean, there's a few stinkers on my page that I put up because I felt pressured to put up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but the ones that have ones that have gone viral, whatever, that got a good response, those are fully formed bits. Those are jokes. That's shit I worked on. That shit that I know is done well all over the place. So I put it on. Why wouldn't it do well online? I mean, there's also been some ones that do very well in rooms, and then they just didn't do shit online or
Yeah.
whatever. But that's the name of the game. Like I deleted TikTok because I was just like, nope, not happening. I don't
Okay.
think. I don't think. I mean, I tried, man. I really tried. Like there'd be clips that do really well on IG, and I put the same exact clip on TikTok, and it got nothing. I'm like, well, this makes me feel very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I, and after a while, I was just like, I'm not doing anything on this site, this app, but just like looking at other people's stuff and seeing how many plays I'm not getting. So let
Hmm.
me just delete it. And I got rid of it, and I just went on with my life, and I don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not great, but I don't know. Who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, do you watch a lot of comics on TikTok?
I don't even like so the I don't have a personal TikTok, but C plus
Mm-hmm.
comedy has a TikTok and it's so hard to like you said just to put things out there and one thing does well, one thing doesn't. But I only follow the people that I interview and even
Mm-hmm.
still it's I have to they have to go to TikTok. You gotta swipe up and then they give you ads, they give you people that you
Yeah,
should follow and like no, I just want to see Matt Bronger's TikTok as opposed
yeah,
to him and then 17 other people's and then his again. It's just
yeah,
I think it's I try to ask comics about TikTok all the time because everyone has differing opinions and some people really like it. You're one of the few that just straight up is not a fan and it's refreshing because it's so hard to get the SEO across and which hashtags
yeah,
are working and how to tag
yeah.
people and I never feel comfortable using it. And
Right.
if I can't get the tool right, then if I like look at the gym, if I'm not good at doing lunges, then I will find a different way to work out those muscles that do lunges.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna just sit there and go, well, lunges hurt my knee. Maybe I
yeah,
should continue doing them and I'll feel better.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, TikTok was hurting me.
Yeah,
It was hurting me. It didn't make me feel good. I was like, okay, well, I know how to do this. I know how to do IG, and I know I need to start building a presence on YouTube. So
yeah,
let me just start using that stuff again. I mean, there's just so. I mean, a lot of my buddies, they have all these platforms, but they have people running it now,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they don't even know when clips are getting posted. And I mean, I'm buddies with Kanane, and I'm just like, he's like, man, you got to start chopping stuff. You got to put. I was like, dude, you're not even logged in. He's like, that's a fair point. I was like, yeah, man, come on now. Like, it's it's I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I'm trending towards grumpy old man territory with all this stuff because I'm just like, I think I'm just mad at myself that
hmm
now one day I looked up and I'm just like confused about something like this. And I'm like, when did this happen?
yeah.
Do I not have any more bandwidth to take in new information on this stuff? Like, I spent well over a decade trying to get good at writing a bit. And now it seems like I need to go back to school to get certified and, you know, just TikTok, SEO stuff, like you were saying, how to use and engage with people online. I'm like, oh, God damn, dude, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. I
Yeah.
think the peak of the powers for comedians online is still not TikTok. I think it was Twitter because you could
Yeah.
go there and yeah, anybody could be a comedian. Anybody could post like one line and they could get a show like Shit My Dad Says and it could
Yes.
flop on CBS. But then you have people like Kanane who did like exceedingly well and you have jackasses like me who can tweet at them and then have Kanane be like, that's not funny. And, just like literally, he told me that. He's like, I told him this. I spoke to him twice and I told him that he's the reason why I don't post. I used to do news. This used to be like the AV Club style website.
Mhm.
And one time I posted something that was a little smarmy about him. And then he said something back and it wasn't mean or anything. And I just went, oh, I like this guy and I shouldn't like be making bad jokes about his career because it was about a tour he was about to go on. And I was like, no, this
Yeah.
isn't fun. So I told him that and he
Yeah.
laughed about it. And I just think it's great. So yeah, Twitter, I think when at the height of its powers, Twitter was fucking
Yeah.
amazing. Twitter,
Oh, it
YouTube,
was great.
all of that.
It was great. I Twitter. I mean, I bailed from that too. And during the pandemic, it was another thing that was just making me sad. Not for comedy reasons, but it was just like, the world was dark and everybody was in some dark spaces. And I just started seeing Twitter. I go on there and just see just the nastiest, meanest shit. And I'm just like, I don't need this at all. Like
Yeah.
it would bum me out. So I'm just like, all right, well, it was a slow checkout too. It's like first let me delete the app from my phone.
hmm
And then you got people that's like, yo, did you see what's going on Twitter today? I'm like, no, I don't care. And then I open my laptop and log in. And after a while, I was like, nope, we're done, deleting. Because you got another buddy of mine, another comic, he deleted his. I'm like, how are you doing with that? He's like, fine. I I hate it. I don't care. I wasn't that great at it. I was like, you have a bunch of followers on there. He's like, yeah, well, they can follow me on everything else I have. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. So yeah, TikTok and Twitter no longer in my life, and I think I feel good about that decision. Now
Yeah.
it could bite me in the ass later, but for right now I'm good. I'm good to
Yeah.
go.
I think it's good too. It's now with besides Instagram and doing social media for an album like this, do you find it more difficult to market yourself or is it like how do you are you touring? How do you get people to get to know who you are?
That is a good question, man. I have no idea. I I I have the only reason I recorded the album is because the folks at Blonde Medicine, I got to know Jess and Dom
hmm
over the years. They see me at festivals, right?
Yeah.
Uh, got to know each other, so we keep up with each other, and it was always kind of like we're always like kind of circling satellite and all that stuff, and uh, yeah, I think my manager at the time was just like he asked me if I was thinking about doing an album, and honestly, I don't think I was always thinking about doing it the way comics in my um, where I am in my career, which is I'm fairly still a baby in it. I've been doing it for about 11, 12 years, but like
Mhm.
this is the first album, so this is just the best I could do for the first decade of me doing comedy. Right? I just
Yeah.
cherry pick all the things that like, will I be okay with these years down the road listening back? I mean, Probably not, but this is the best I have right now, right? And yeah, it just I think when we started talking about recording an album, Blind Medicine was just that was one of those. It was a no brainer for me because I've already known those guys for years. A lot of my buddies and peers have albums with the label,
Hmm.
and just they're dope. They're a dope label. They know how to treat folks, and I think they put out some good stuff. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it with them. Now the timing was just like, well, I know I'm going to have a kid. I recorded in October of 23,
Okay.
and my son was born in November,
Oh,
so the
wow.
next month. So
Jeez.
it was like we either do it now before your kid shows up, or you have to wait, 6 months to a year after he's born before you can start getting back out there. And by then it just seemed like I needed to do it before he was born because I knew I would be down for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And by then, I don't know. It's like I wouldn't want to. It would seem stale. It would seem old, like
Hmm.
all the stuff. So yeah, we pulled it off. Had some shows, packed them out, had a good audience, and I think I ended up making something that's pretty good. It's not great. I think it's pretty good.
I
It's
think
one of
it's
those things
funny.
where it's like, oh, thanks, man. I mean, I don't know. I should be. I'm critical of myself. I
Hmm.
think a lot of comics are, and I'm just in that headspace where I'm just like, yeah, like damn, I could have added a tag here, or
Right.
like now I do the bit. I still like there's a few bits on the album that are like they were new when I put them on there, but I was excited. I was like, this is good. I don't want to wait until the next one, so I put them
Hmm.
on there, and then afterwards I'm like, fuck, this is part of the new chunk, and I'm like, I'm doing those bits so much better now than when I recorded them. So I just want everybody to know out there, hey, the material you're going to hear is really good, but when you come see me, it's going to be really, really good because I sharpened a couple of those things. Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I'm working a couple rooms,
Hmm.
uh, B rooms, like small, like small improv, small heliums and stuff like that. I'm in the one nighter part of my career
Okay.
where I show up. You know, there's a good chance these people have no idea who they're going to see on a Wednesday, and I'm like, yeah, you are correct. Yeah, you're taking a chance. I appreciate it, but I go out with Kanane on his run and do shows, and which has been great watching him. I mean, he's one of the greatest to ever
Hmm.
do it,
Yeah.
and just to be around somebody who can come up with an idea and kind of throw it out there a line or two on a Thursday night, and by Saturday second show have it flushed out to like 10 minutes. It's infuriating,
Yeah.
and it pisses me off, and I hate it. But I also love it, and I'm just like, good. I need to be here watching someone work like this
Yeah.
because, ironically enough, it's so weird. It's like we're buds now, and I open for him, and we hang and all that. But it's like I used to listen to that guy when I first started.
Yeah.
Like I had a whiskey Icarus and all that shit, and I would play it in the car on my way to work all the time. And I was basically doing a hack version of Canaan at the mics in San Diego, all that stuff. And now you fast forward, it's like, and now I get to go on the road with the guy, I get to hang out with the guy. So it's comedy's weird like that. That's the one thing I appreciate out of all this stuff.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
is, it's crazy. He's the voice. He was the voice of Comedy Central, introducing his own specials on the platform on the network.
Mm-hmm.
But with him, he's got, and a lot of comedians of his rank and caliber, he's got a lot of personality, and it's not manufactured. He was the
No.
beard guy. He's got the gruff voice. He's got all his jokes come from a place where you could believe it, even if they're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily true. And I think that's how all comedy, not all comedy, but that's how good comedy should work, as opposed to some people who have Netflix specials and they just kind of flame out and they do the crowd work stuff. And for you, you have a lot of those similar qualities. If you were, doing your own version of Kyle, then it's at least coming through here because you've got all these different tracks and things that stand out. And I think going back to the TikTok conversation, it can all play out very well because these are all such bite sized and so very funny, and they work together and they work separately. The Steph Curry's eyes bit was, just glorious. I think it's very funny. Like you came in negative and you turned to spin on his head, and it
Yeah.
fucking it worked. It was so very funny, and it works even better because I spent 6 episodes watching Mr. Throwback on Peacock,
Oh yeah.
and like
Yeah.
and
I
like
just
and
found
like
that. I
getting
just
charmed
discovered
by
that.
that guy.
Yeah. 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 I know that is a pretty funny show. I just stumbled onto that. Like, what the hell? No, yeah. The Curry bit is it's something that I almost didn't do on the album because I just forgot about it. Like I I did that bit in San Francisco with Kyle. I was at Cobb's, and there's this dude in the front row. He held his arm up, gave you the middle finger the whole time from the start of the bit up until the turn, and he took his arm and he's like, oh, "Okay, yeah." I was like,
What
"Okay,
a
all right,
dummy.
now, all right, all right, all right." Yeah, it's a being in Portland. Portland's not a big. They like to fancy themselves a sports city, but
Yeah.
I don't really believe them. I mean, they got the Blazers. It's fine. Like I used to work for I did the pre and post game show for like 4 seasons for NBC Sports up here for the Blazers.
Oh
So I
wow.
got to talk basketball and all that shit and
Yeah.
kind of be goofy and talk to players, and it was cool. And like I'm a big soccer guy. They have the Timbers and they're
The
mid.
Timbers, yeah.
It's fine. And then but the women's team, the Thorns, are like one of the best teams in the women's soccer league.
Yeah.
So it's like it is a sports city, but I don't think a lot of the folks that come to shows are sports people.
hmm
So if you go into a bit, I've learned over the years of living here, if I go into a bit too uh, too in the weeds about details about sports or whatever. I gotta paint with broad strokes because I'll lose half of the crowd's attention because they're like, we don't watch shooty hoops or say some
Yeah.
stupid shit like that.
Right.
We don't do sports ball. I'm like, fuck you, get out of here. Like you can't hold on for 1 minute because you just check out when you hear a ball or some shit like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the bit had the bit really. I mean, I leaned into a lot more basketball references and stuff like that at the beginning of that bit, and I think I kind of I took into account a lot of people who don't watch shooty hoops,
yeah.
and I just got straight to the point and made it digestible and something. I think I even say like chill. You don't have to really watch basketball, know basketball to know what I'm about to talk about here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That kind of primes people for it. Like, oh, this is going to be about something completely different. Like, yes, it is.
I think that's
Yeah,
a perfect joke to tell now post Olympics because uh, people are watching USA basketball and
yeah,
were like people who didn't even like sports watched a lot of the Olympics. So
mm-hmm.
we can assume, yeah, who LeBron and Steph
Yeah.
and Jason
You
Tatum
know these
are.
mega stars are. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane. I also one more thing before we go. I want to mention the snort interlude. That's a
Oh,
very funny, great. I think it's like 20 some odd seconds as just a funny
yeah.
thing. I finished. Yeah, obviously Eminem came out with a new album this year, and then
Mm-hmm.
Big Sean came out with an album last week, and both have a lot of interludes and skits and stuff like that. And they're not funny. I think I'm done with the interludes from 2000s and 90s on hip hop albums. I just don't think they're funny
Yeah,
anymore. I can't
yeah,
listen to them in rotation. But to have
yeah.
a snort interlude, to call somebody out in the crowd and be like, I think somebody just snorted. This is a very funny thing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the snort interlude. That was I thought it was gonna be I didn't know it was gonna be on there like that. I think when we were going back and forth in the notes, I was like, "You guys gonna cut that?" They were like, "No, we should leave it in." I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
put it in there." But to call it interlude was also funny too. I was like, I don't know. It made the album. So shout out to that lady who snorted. I promised you it'd be in there. So hopefully you bought the album or you listened to it and you made the cut. Congrats.
Yeah, she's the
Yeah,
one who's going to share it on TikTok, and that's the one that's going to go viral.
that's gonna blow up, and then that's when I'm gonna get my Netflix thing. Yeah, that's when I'll end up on Vulture's comics you should know kind of list. One of those things.
Yes.
I'll be on a list. Hopefully, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Shout out to my buddies who made the list this year. sorry your boy didn't make the cut, but I'm rooting for you.
Next time, next time, next time.
Next time, we'll see it. Maybe. Yeah.
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 Well, Shain, I appreciate this, man. This is great. It's wonderful. You're a very funny guy, and once
Thanks,
I
man.
got the press release, and then I went to your Instagram, and I had to look at some clips, and I was like, this guy's gonna be it. So I definitely had to talk to you, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Very kind words. Thanks a lot. Thanks for letting me chat a little bit about this thing. I'm bad at all this. This is not this is my first go. This is the first album, so this is the first time I have to talk about the bits or anything.
Hmm.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you talk to a lot of comics. It's like talking about your material is weird
it
if you're
is.
not
It
used
is.
to it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure out how to make people laugh with the material now to try to like sell it or push it or describe it, explain it. I'm just like, I don't know. It's I put these words together. I kept churning at it until they made people laugh, so I can get paid and feed my son. I don't know. That's where I am.
Yeah, look, that's it. And that's how it
Yeah,
works. You just try to you treat comedy like a conversation. I treat these conversations like a conversation. So I think that
nice.
worked out. Yeah, that worked out
That
pretty
works
well.
out. I like that. That math checks out. Well, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man.
All right, you have a good rest of your week.
You too, man. Take care.